Today's daily recap for BTG Beyond the Gates is for Friday, March the 28th, 2025. We had some activity going on, not too much, but setting the ground for us all. Is that Bill Hamilton hugging another woman? Oh. And at the elevator of the office, does he just hold her hand? I think he even kisses her hand. Okay. And she thanks him so much for really just listening to her. It just enlightened her so much. Well, Haley happened to be there. She was walking to go into Bill's office when she saw the hug. So once he lets her get on the elevator and he turns, like, and when he turns around and there's Haley. Haley. And she says, "What were you doing with that woman? And were you two hugging in your office?" And he goes, "That was strictly platonic. She ambushed me and she needed to talk." And he explains it all away, right? Because Haley's like, "Oh, I remember the late nights in your office, you and I going over briefs." And he goes, "Ooh, and you had a particular pair of red satin briefs that I love the most." You know, changing the subject. So she goes, "Don't change the subject, Bill. What's going on?" And he just, no, it's very inappropriate for you to be hugging clients in your office. "Well, technically, she's not my client." And he goes, "That makes it even worse. So she's a stranger and you hugging?" He goes, "No. Her husband," she said something about her husband. So she goes, her husband's your client?" And he goes, "No, not yet." He's like, I was listening to her spun it so that, yeah, he was letting her tell the tea or dish all the tea and give more insight so that he can then go to the husband and say how to protect the kids or go to an adult child. Somehow he spent it, right? And so she goes, "Oh, okay. So this way you're now invaluable, blah, blah, blah." She goes, "I see, okay." She goes, "But I still don't like it. You know, we got a sexual harassment lawsuit that's looming over this firm's head." And he goes, "Honey, baby, look, I know how to handle things. I know how to maneuver everything, right?" So of course she couldn't stay mad long because Bill's making her feel like, there was nothing there. You the only woman I'm looking at. See, the same thing he was probably telling Danny. When Danny kind of got a little suspicious. "Oh, baby girl, you know that's Haley. Danny, you the love of my life. Haley is our daughter's age. I look at Haley like she's another one of the kids," which, whoosh, that makes it worse. But anyway, you could tell he got Danny to completely feel like she was unjustified with having any kinds of suspicions, which is exactly what he's going to do to Haley. But the thing is, Haley knows exactly how he gaslit Danny and how he made her think she was seeing things and that weren't there between him and Haley when they really were. So, see, she gonna see it much faster and call a spade. But see, understand something, chick. He's definitely gonna do it to you. And you guys don't even have the kind of history he and Danny has. So you're going to be ex-nayed real fast, okay? Really fast. So that was with them two. And yeah, I don't want nothing else. Now, Tyrell, Martin and Smitty split the kids up. Martin's talking to the daughter and Samantha, and Smitty is up there with Tyrell trying to put antiseptic and some butterfly stitches on his face, trying to get information. And Tyrell really tells them nothing. "I wiped out on my bike." That's what happened, which he really didn't. So when Smitty comes downstairs, Samantha had already gone up to do some homework, which she really went to her brother's room. They were talking. And uh initially Martin says, "Okay, did you get anything out of Tyrell?" He says, "No, he's still stonewalling." "Did you get anything out of Samantha?" "No, you could tell she's covering for Tyrell." And so Martin says, I probably should have went up to talk to Tyrell. And Smitty says, Martin, you 100% know Tyrell would have definitely put up an instant wall with you. Either one of us that would have had, either of us, between the two of us that would have had an opportunity to get information out of him, and it's definitely me. You know, Samantha has always told you things. He goes, yeah, and I couldn't get any information out of her. So he goes, see, all the more reason, Smitty, for you to still be home full time. He says, you know what? We've already discussed that. We're not even going to entertain that because it's not what's going to happen. He said, now, what needs to happen is you need to be around more. You need to be home in the evenings, Martin. Just like when I go back to work, I'll make sure I'm home in the evenings because the kids are in school during the day. So, yeah, I don't need to be home full time, you know? So, anyway, Samantha and Tyrell were talking, and he finally told her the truth. He was taking a shower after gym, and he goes, those my doggone briefs. There was some kind of, not Scooby Doo. I'm just saying the name, Scooby Doo briefs. Because if you in high school and you caught getting dressed with some Scooby Doo, it's kid briefs on, they gonna make fun of you. And so he says somebody took a picture of me in my briefs and sent it to this girl, right? And he goes, he may have known her, but not known her like that. She didn't know him like that. Well, she showed the picture to her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's a jock and bigger than him. And he's the one that came up to him and punched him in the eye, decked him for sending his girlfriend a partially unclothed picture of himself. And so she goes, ooh, that you didn't see? He goes, no, it was taken with my phone. And I'm thinking, okay, now look, if someone took the picture of you, then you obviously weren't facing the camera, right? Unless they had the phone as some kind of hidden device, and the picture would have been all blurry. So fingerprints, even though they're not going, the kids in the high school probably aren't even their fingerprints on our record, so that wouldn't do any good. But either way, to the jock that decked me, it would be, for one, this wasn't no selfie of me. I didn't take a selfie of me in my boxers or my boxer area. You could tell this picture is, I'm not even facing the camera, so it's obvious I didn't take the picture. So which one of your friends want your girlfriend that decided to put me in the middle of this crap? But kids don't think like that. So he says, no, another reason he doesn't want to tell, he knows Martin and Smitty will go to the kid's parents' house and make it a whole big ordeal. But he's saying, that's why I hate those. He hates those boxers. Well, you tell your dads, look, I'm too big for Spider-Man underwear. Done with that. Please. So we have, let's see. Oh, everybody, between Dana and Ted. Ted knew she was pregnant, but Ted told her to get an abortion and gave her money. And she told Ted when they ran into each other again that she had gotten that abortion. See, that's something Eva does not know. Eva doesn't know that Ted knows nothing about her because Dana is saying, see, he's ignoring you. Uh-huh. So that's going to come out. And so she was saying, 50,000 should be good to make her go away again, which he's like, uh, she goes, so just, Zelle me or no, Cash App me. He goes, oh, no, 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 no. There won't be no kind of paper trail that you could come back and try to hold that over my head. It will be in cash. And so he goes, but I can't get $50,000 out of my bank in cash without it raising all kind of red flags. She goes, that's your problem. You figure out how to do it. Whatever. And he goes, oh, don't worry. It'll be done because I want you gone. Gone. Right? So he walks in and he's talking to Kat. And of course, Kat's preoccupied looking at her phone, trying to see what Eve was going to do. Then Nicole shows up. Then the place is called Uptown. That's the name of it. The little bar, sports bar, really. Um, she walks in and she sees Doug and Vanessa. She goes up, hey, I haven't seen you all in forever. And blah, blah, blah. We need to get together and this, that, and the other. And Vanessa says, oh, that's because Doug has been night and day at the hospital, almost like he's living there. And Nicole looks at him. She goes, really? I never see you at the hospital, Doug. And so he looks at Nicole and said, well, and so Vanessa says, well, why wouldn't she see you, Doug? With as much time as you spend in there. He says, well, for one thing, psychologists or psychiatrists, I always forget which is what, uh, and heart surgeons, we don't even occupy the same space. I'm on a completely different floor. And so Nicole's kind of like, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, how he wouldn't see her. Well, really, he would. She would run into him at some point down some hallway. But anyway, that explained that away. Well, guess who walks in? Joey. Hey, you two. And Doug looks at him. And so he goes, Vanessa, I got those photos of those homes. Some of them are excellent potentials for a home for my mother. When can we go see them? She says, well, call my office and my assistant will set up an appointment. And absolutely, she invites Joey to sit down with them. And he goes, Doctor, whatever their last name is, he greeted, what's his name? Greeted the gambler. Oh my God, why is his name Doug? And Doug is like, what is it? Joey, is it? And he goes, well, yes. He goes, hi, nice to see you, Joey. And she kind of looks like, oh, his name. So Joey says, no, no, no. Thanks for the invite, but I have to go. And he goes, I feel like this is going to be somebody's. Because he goes, plus, from what I hear, this is a special night for you two. How would he know that? How would he hear that? I didn't understand how he would have even known that. So I don't want to intrude, in your special time. And he goes, I feel like this is going to be somebody's lucky night. And he's looking at Doug, like them chips is calling you, buddy. Yeah. So Doug, as he leaves, she goes, as Joey leaves, Vanessa turns to Doug and says, why were you so rude? He goes, what do you mean rude? She goes, Joey, is it? You know Mr. Blah, blah, blah. You know his name. He goes, Vanessa, you know what kind of man that is? Do you know what kind of business he's in? She's like, it's not my business to know what kind of business he's in. It's my business to know, does he have enough assets to close a deal? Okay, I'm here performing a service. She goes, just like if he came to you with heart problems, would you turn him away? And Joey said, well, no, it's different. We take a Hippocratic oath to help people. She goes, no, and I have a professional obligation to my clients as well. So he goes, well, anyway, and he's standing up. I got to go. She goes, wait, this was supposed to be a special night for us. He goes, I just got a text. Now, she didn't hear his text go off. Neither did I, right? So he goes, don't wait up for me. And he kissed her and he left, right? Now, what I don't get, now, Joey, I mean, he goes, of course, to gamble. Joey gives Randy a rigged deck. He says, I'm cleaning out Doug tonight. And so Randy looks, he goes, what? He goes, you make sure the dealer uses this magic deck of cards to clean Randy out. And so he goes, okay. So he gave the dealer the cards. So the cards are obviously marked, right? The dealer probably knew what he was giving him, which cards to give him. And or the way he probably also did it was there was only three people at the table. He probably was paying one of them, and the one knew how to read the marked cards. I mean, come on, there's easy ways of taking money from people, especially at gambling establishments. So uh, Doug is losing, and you can see him. He's like, all the pile of money went to the guy next to him. But what was interesting, everybody, is Vanessa was on an app on her phone. I think it's called Landview Casino. Yeah, Landview. That's interesting. Landview Casino or Lakeview Casino, one of the two. And she's watching like a hand of poker, and the dealer in on her phone was pushing the money to somebody stack. And then they cut to Joey's place where the dealer was pushing a stack of money to the guy. And I'm thinking, is she what? I mean, how would she know? That angle of the camera would have to be from a live. I don't know. I don't know. Either she's got a gambling thing herself, because who spends time watching gambling on your phone? Like I don't know. I don't know. They're gonna get to that, but something's up with that, and it struck me as, hey, does she know? Well, in order to get a live feed like that, Joey would have had to have provided it from her for her, and they're not that close yet. So I don't know what is going on with that. But anyway, Kat is sitting down with her parents, because Nicole finally got there, and she's like, "I just wanted to have a great dinner with my parents," and they ordered some pizza, but she kept looking at her phone, and so Ted says, "Again with your phone? What's going on?" She goes, "I just got to check something." And Ted and Nicole are looking at each other and they're looking at her. And she sees Eva come into the office. She goes to Nicole's files, patient files. It's the locked little uh file cabinet, two drawer file cabinet. It's not locked, keys are hanging out of it. And she picks out Sherry Carter's file. And Eva and Kat's like, gotcha. And she was reading the file. And Kat could see, so Kat goes, "We got to go home right now." And they're like, "Go home? What do you mean go home? We just got here. We've got to go now." So she goes, and Kat's getting out. She goes, "Well, look, I'm going. You meet me there." And so Ted says, "Is our house on fire?" She goes, "No, it's not on fire, but it's important." So as Eva is looking over the file and she's looking around and she catches sight of the square camera. No, and what happened was Kat's phone, her battery died from her looking at that live stream, live feed for hours, right? She goes, "Does anybody have a phone charger?" And they're like, "Well, no, in my car." And that's when she goes, "Oh, we got to get home. We got to get home." Because she had just seen Eva walk in and start looking at the files. So she gets home and she come and no, Eva, before she gets home, she sees the camera. So she slams the file folder closed. She puts it back in, and then she's like, so she goes out. She's trying to grab her stuff, and she hears Kat, tearing into the driveway. So she goes hiding behind the side of the fireplace, and there's a plant. And Kat comes walking in. "Eva, you," whatever name she called her, "you are busted now." And she goes running and rushing into her mother's office. Well, that's when Eva is hightailing it out of the house. But as she's walking by Kat's phone. Kat put her coat down, purse, phone, and her phone was being charged probably in her car. But the phone charger was still hanging on it. As she's walking by, she sees her phone and she picks it up and she can see, I guess, the live feed. So Eva erases it. We don't see that, but I knew that's what she was gonna do, was erase it. So Ted and Nicole come home and Kat comes rushing out. "Finally, it took you guys forever to get here." And they're like, "What's this all about, sweetheart?" And she's like, Eva was here looking through your confidential patient files when you weren't here because you weren't here. And Nicole says, how could you possibly know that? And she goes, well, I got the proof. I'll show you. So she picks up her phone. She's going to the app. And of course, it's blank. There's no feed. And she's looking at it. She's looking at it. And so Ted says, what are we supposed to be looking at, Kat? And she just has this stupid, mortified, idiotic look on her face like, can't believe she got me like this. Right? And Eva's at home. You can see I made the picture small and put Eva's picture in with their picture because, for one, I'd already had 4 pictures and I didn't want to do another slide deck. She said, poured herself a stiff one and said, Beautician one, B, ITCH, beyond the gates, a zero. And she was stuck like, Cat don't know nothing about coming for her, which she doesn't. I already talked about that. Eva's an alley cat. Cat is a pampered feline that her feet barely touch the floor in the house. Don't stand a chance outside the house, especially with an alley cat. So that was it. That was good. Let me see. Go over my notes real quick. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else happened, but that was a pretty good episode. I was noticing. I knew Eva would get away. I really did, and we got more history between Dana and Ted. Okay, so Ted was definitely married to Nicole, got another woman pregnant, and told her to get an abortion. And she said she did, but she didn't. And something else happened. He goes, when I give you the money, you are definitely going to leave town. He goes, because I'll get the same Marshall that ran you out of town all those years ago. And you don't want to see him. And she just looked at him. So obviously, she did something illegal, something wrong, which of course we could tell the girl, she's scandalous, shady. So there's definitely more backstory to that, and I can't wait to hear it. It's like this is all new. All these characters are new for us. So everything they're saying is kind of like, oh, okay, wow, what? When they're talking about the past, they're kind of catching us up because we never saw that past. Well, let's go to comment corner. Comment corner. I'm going to get through these comments because I'm going out of town this weekend, y'all, and I don't have a thing packed. Jay says every single mother who knows who their baby daddy is wouldn't wait over 20 years to seek child support and revenge. Because definitely the courts would say, oh, that child support thing, that's past. You needed to have filed that before the child turned 18. Jess K says, agreed. If she cared about Eva, wait, she doesn't care about Eva, she cares about revenge. I'm wondering if Leslie is even her mom the way she acts. I know. Richard says, another great review, daily recap. Lady, I agree. Jacob and Cricket Cop partner aren't worth talking about. Not one bit. Okay? Not one bit. And then we have Just K says, Haley cares about Haley and that the social status and that is social status and money. The audacity of Haley talking to Naomi like that. I'm glad Naomi stood up to Haley. Maybe Naomi will mention it to Bill the next time they talk. I wonder how he would feel about Haley threatening his daughter. He would think, oh, my wife's an alley cat trying to protect me, right? Danny needs to date Danny. She needs a self-love journey, not going on dates with other guys with her crazy self. Yeah, no, don't get into that now. I was disappointed in Smitty not being mad enough at Martin. To me, he let Martin get off the hook. I'm with you on that. Martin, ugh. I guess whatever secret Martin is holding back will break Martin and Smitty up. I know Martin will use whatever happened to Tyrell and to keep Smitty from working. He tried, but it didn't work. Thanks for the recap. And then Lucy says, great BTG's episodes and review or episode and review. Bravo to the cast, crew, set decorators, writers, etc. Thank you, Daily Recap Lady, for all you do. Well, thank you so much, Lucy. I'm enjoying this show with you as well. All right, everybody, that is it for the daily recap of Beyond the Gates. I'll see you next weekend.